Let me start with a question. How many of you would someday like to travel to the moon? Okay, and how about Mars? Alright, at least a few. Well, I have good news for you. What if I told you that the greatest adventure in human history is happening right now and most people don't even realize it? We are on the brink of becoming a multiplanetary species, and the decisions we make today will determine whether humanity thrives among the stars or remains confined to this one fragile world. If you check my LinkedIn profile, you won't find many connections to space exploration. I currently work at Swisscom Banking, selling products and services to our B2B customers. So, not exactly rocket science. But let's forget about LinkedIn for a moment and focus on passion. And my passion simply lies with space exploration. Ever since I first looked through a telescope as a kid, I've been fascinated by the idea of traveling to the stars. 4 years ago, I started my YouTube channel SpaceX Talks, which later led to me giving keynotes. For the next 10 to 15 minutes, my goal is to share my passion and fascination for space exploration with you. Dear audience, buckle up and let's begin our journey. When our ancestors gazed up at the evening sky, they knew little about the formation of stars and the origins of our universe. The occurrence of solar eclipses, comets and asteroids remained a mystery. But thanks to brilliant minds like Johannes Kepler, Nicolaus Copernicus, Galileo Galilei, Albert Einstein and Stephen Hawking, our knowledge of the universe has advanced beyond imagination. Today we know that our galaxy alone contains hundreds of billions of stars and likely millions of Earth-like planets. The observable universe stretches across approximately 63 billion light-years and holds hundreds of billions of galaxies, each a potential host to unknown worlds. As our knowledge grew, so did our desire to leave Earth. This led to one of the greatest rivalries in history, the space race between the Soviet Union and the United States of America. In the early days of the space race, the Soviet Union took the lead, achieving one historic milestone after another. They launched Sputnik in 1957, the world's first artificial satellite. Shortly after, the dog Laika was sent into orbit. And then, in 1961, Yuri Gagarin became the first human to orbit the Earth. But the United States was determined to catch up. With President John F. Kennedy's bold vision to land a man on the moon, it was the United States that claimed the ultimate victory. In 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin set foot on the lunar surface with Apollo 11, an achievement that remains one of humanity's greatest. After the Apollo moon landings, the focus shifted from crewed missions to robotic probes exploring the solar system. During that time, there was simply one agency which called almost all the shots in space exploration, and that was NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. During this period, spaceflight remained the domain of traditional aerospace giants, often called the old space industry. These companies included big names like Boeing, Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. For decades, NASA was in the driver's seat, relying on these companies. But then everything changed. A new era of space exploration emerged, driven by private space companies, not as competitors to NASA, but as partners. Companies like Rocket Lab, Relativity Space, Blue Origin, Firefly Aerospace and Intuitive Machines. Today, NASA no longer works alone. It collaborates with private companies to drive innovation and take humanity further into space. But among all those companies, there is one that stands out and has yet to be mentioned. One company that has redefined the space economy. And that company is SpaceX. In 2002, Elon Musk funded SpaceX with a bold vision, building the most advanced rockets and making life multiplanetary. SpaceX transformed the space industry with reusability, cutting launch costs dramatically. In 2015, Falcon 9 became the first rocket to land and be reused, revolutionizing the industry. In 2020, SpaceX made history again when the vessel Crew Dragon became the first commercial spacecraft to carry NASA astronauts to the ISS, marking the first US crewed mission since the Space Shuttle's retirement in 2011. Today, SpaceX routinely flies astronauts to the ISS, while Falcon rockets launch and land almost daily. While SpaceX is pushing the boundaries of space travel, NASA is leading the way in returning humans to the moon. At the heart of this effort is the Artemis program. NASA's Artemis program is an initiative to return humans to the moon and lay the foundation for deep space missions. In November 2022, we witnessed the successful uncrewed test flight of NASA's SLS rocket and the Orion capsule. That was Artemis 1. Artemis 2 will happen no earlier than 2026 and will include the first crewed mission to orbit the moon in over 50 years. Artemis 3 is currently planned for 2027 and will hopefully bring a historic lunar landing, sending astronauts back to the moon. Artemis isn't just a NASA effort, it's a collaboration with private space companies, each playing a key role, with SpaceX being responsible for developing the first fully reusable crewed moon lander. With Artemis laying the foundation for our return to the moon, the next step is even more ambitious: building a rocket capable of taking us to Mars and beyond. And that rocket is SpaceX's Starship. Starship consists of two rocket stages. The first stage of the rocket is called Super Heavy, while the second stage, the actual spacecraft, is called Starship. Super Heavy is a 70-meter tall booster powered by 33 engines. Starship is 50 meters tall, powered by 6 engines, and is designed to carry more than 100 people or 100 tons of cargo to the moon and Mars. Starship is a complete game changer because both rocket stages are fully reusable. Traditional rockets like NASA's SLS can only be used once. Starship changes this. The goal is to launch, land, refuel and relaunch in days. Now this is crucial because the only way to make life multiplanetary is by building a fully reusable spaceship. Though still in the prototype phase, Starship has already made major progress with ongoing test launches. Some of you might have seen the most recent one a couple of weeks ago. In 2020, Elon Musk announced an idea that sounded straight out of science fiction: catching the massive Super Heavy booster with the launch tower named Mechazilla. Many dismissed it as impossible, and even back then, for other reasons than today, some people, including hardcore SpaceX enthusiasts, said that Elon Musk had completely lost his mind and should be sent to a mental institution. But what was once thought to be insane and impossible was achieved by SpaceX during flight test number 5, the first successful catch of a returning rocket stage out of midair. Whether you admire his genius or question his methods and public appearances, Musk has changed the course of space exploration forever, turning fiction into reality. Starship will eventually take us to Mars. But why Mars? Why not Venus? The answer is rather easy. Because Mars is the most Earth-like and closest planet in our solar system. Although there are other potential candidates, moons such as Europa, Titan and Enceladus, Mars remains our best chance for establishing a human presence. However, reaching Mars will be one of the greatest challenges in human history. The journey will take up to 9 months, during which astronauts will be exposed to cosmic radiation and isolation. Once on Mars, astronauts will face extreme conditions: lack of breathable air, frigid temperatures, high radiation levels and lower gravity, which could cause unknown long-term effects. SpaceX's plan involves sending Starships no earlier than 2028 ahead for cargo missions. Optimistically speaking, the first humans could land on Mars in the late 2030s, possibly around 2036 to 2040. Let's assume we will land humans on Mars and start building a city. How will this exactly be accomplished? Before humans arrive, AI-guided robots will construct shelters in caves or tunnels to protect settlers from radiation and extreme temperatures. 3D printing with Martian soil will be crucial. Autonomous robots will set up solar power, build tunnels, and construct essential facilities. As infrastructure grows, the colony will develop cities and transport systems. Greenhouses and water farming will ensure sustainable food production. The concept of terraforming could make Mars more Earth-like by thickening its atmosphere. A process that could take hundreds to thousands of years, depending on the methods used. However, with our current technology, terraforming remains in the realm of science fiction. Let's assume that we have finally landed on Mars and built up a self-sustaining city. What happens then? What's the next big thing? While Starship can take humans to the Moon, Mars and beyond, interstellar travel requires speeds far beyond its capabilities. NASA's Parker Solar Probe holds the record at almost 700,000 kilometers per hour, fast enough to reach the Moon in an hour. However, it travels at just 0.064% of the speed of light, meaning it would take over 6,700 years to reach our neighboring star Proxima Centauri. To move beyond our solar system, we need revolutionary propulsion methods. Some promising concepts include nuclear propulsion, a concept explored in the Netflix series The Three-Body Problem. This could theoretically reach 5 to 10% of the speed of light. Light sails pushed by laser beams could reach up to 20% of the speed of light. Antimatter propulsion could theoretically enable speeds close to 90% of the speed of light, and warp drives could manipulate space-time to exceed light speed. Now, you might ask yourself, why all this? What's the purpose of having a city on Mars? Don't we have enough problems on Earth where money could be better spent? Earth, while perfect for life, is vulnerable. Asteroid impacts, climate change, or even human-made disasters could threaten our civilization. Colonizing Mars and other planets ensures that life will continue, no matter what happens on Earth. In fact, making life multiplanetary is humanity's life insurance. Beyond Earth's limited resources, space holds vast untapped potential. Asteroids are rich in valuable metals like platinum, gold and even diamonds, while the Moon's supply of helium-3 could one day power fusion reactors, paving the way for nearly limitless energy. But the real reason is far deeper. It's a question that has haunted humanity for ages. Are we alone in the universe? One day, space exploration will give us the answer. From crossing the oceans to landing on the Moon, exploration is embedded into our DNA. We don't explore space simply because we must. We do it because we are explorers by nature and curiosity is our driving force. Space exploration is no longer a dream of the distant future. It is happening right now and it needs brilliant minds, bold leaders and visionaries just like you. Dear audience, the future is bright, the future is ours, and the future will be multiplanetary. Thank you.